Hey guys, this is John from WaltonsInc.com, and this is Meatgistics. In America, you can basically break down pepperoni into pizza pepperoni and sandwich pepperoni. The pizza pepperoni is going to have a smaller diameter than the sandwich pepperoni will. Both can either be smoked in a similar fashion like you would with summer sausage or cold cured. Just be sure if you're doing a cold cure that you're using 100% pork. We'll be going over how to make a smoked pepperoni with a smaller diameter today, but you can follow the same process for making a larger diameter pepperoni, just use a larger casing for like fibrous summer sausage casings. We're going to be making our pepperoni out of 6 pounds of pork butts and 4 pounds of beef. We bought both of these at the local grocery store and cut them up into cubes. The pork butt was bone in, so that took a little bit longer to debone and cube. Since I was deboning, I wore a Hexarmour NXT cut resistant glove with a nitrile glove covering that to keep it clean. Anytime I'm deboning, I like to do that. Just keeps my hands safe and prevents me slipping and making a trip to the hospital. I'm going to be using the 1.5 by 12 inch fibrous casings, so while I'm doing all this other stuff, I've soaked them in warm water to make them pliable enough to stuff the pepperoni in later. Since we're making 10 pounds of pepperoni, we'll need to divide out the seasoning, cures, water, and additives we're going to use. Since the bag of seasoning is enough for 25 pounds of meat and we're making 10 pounds, we need to divide everything by 2.5. Make sure you do this for all your additives as well. This is going to give us 0.562 of a pound of the seasoning. It's going to give us 1.6 ounces of the carrot fiber, also 1.6 ounces of the encapsulated citric acid, and we're going to use 2.5 teaspoons of the shear cure. With pepperoni, we need to keep our pork and our beef separate until later in the process, as we're going to want some particle definition in our product, where we can see nice chunks of fat mixed in with the rest of the meat. A major factor in particle definition that's often overlooked is keeping your meat cold. Now, I know we say it all the time for food safety reasons here, but keeping your meat cold is even more important when you're needing particle definition. Now, particle definition only affects the look of the product, so if you don't care about that, feel free to grind and mix all your products together. We're going to grind our beef twice, first through a 3/16 plate and then through a 1/8 plate. Again, we're keeping it separate from the pork. Next, we're going to grind our pork through a 3/8 plate. We want it to be nice and chunky so we can see some good big fat pieces. I'm just keeping everything separate in 2 different poly pans. Now mix your beef, water, seasoning, cure, and other additives aside from encapsulated citric acid for 3 minutes until the seasoning is totally mixed in. Then add your pork and mix for an additional 4 minutes. If you're going to use encapsulated citric acid, add it during the last minute of mixing to prevent the encapsulation from breaking down and releasing the acid into the meat too early. Now that our casings are nice and pliable and we've loaded our stuffer, making sure that we didn't create any air pockets, we're ready to go ahead and stuff. What we're going to do is load our casing onto our stuffing tube, and we just want to choose the largest stuffing tube that this casing will fit over. Push it all the way down, and we're going to start cranking while holding some pressure here. These are fibrous casings, so we're not at all worried about blowouts. We just want to stuff it until it's full and smooth, but we want to leave ourselves enough room on this end to close it with a hog ring. So to do that, we just stuff it and hold it loosely. We don't need to worry about too much pressure, and we're going to stop it right about there. That should, it gives us a good amount of room to twist, and then later we'll come back and put a hog ring right on that to keep that sealed. Remember, we're going to hang these from the string, so our hog ring does need to hold the weight of all the meat, so it's got to be nice and tight. Now the stuffing's all done and we're getting ready to put them in the smoker. We're using our Pro Smoker PK100 and we're smoking it over applewood chips. We'll smoke it at 125 for an hour, then 140 for an hour, then 155 for an hour, and finally we'll turn it up to 175 degrees until the internal temperature reaches 160 degrees. To help set the casing to the meat and also to prevent wrinkling, we need to shower the pepperoni or put them in an ice bath after they're done smoking. It should only take about 10 to 15 minutes to get the temperature to drop down to where we need it to be to stop the cooking process. Then we're going to let them set out for about an hour at room temperature before moving them to the refrigerator or freezer. After we're totally done with the cooling process, then we can vacuum pack them for longer term storage. So we're all done with the smoking and the cooling. The pepperoni tastes great. The encapsulated citric acid really gave it a nice tang that I'm loving. I've eaten way too much of this stuff already. Now remember, these are smoked pepperoni. They're not the dry cured type. So it does have a consistency that's going to be closer to summer sausage than it would be to like a hard pepperoni that you're used to seeing in a grocery store. But it has great particle definition, and that's really something we were looking for. And like I said, the taste is great. So all in all, making pepperoni was only slightly more difficult than other cured sausages. Just because of the particle definition, we had an extra step or two, but it was pretty easy and the results were awesome. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and visit waltonsinc.com and meatjustics.com to find everything but the meat. Thanks for watching. I'm John with waltonsinc.com, and I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe to Walton's YouTube channel to watch more amazing videos, or shop at waltonsinc.com to find everything but the meat. Check out our latest giveaway and sales video here, or watch another handpicked video by clicking here.